Horrific murders. Investigation process. Portrait of the perpetrator. Motive for the crime. Final verdict. Welcome to Mysterious Case. Knoxville, Tennessee, a small town nestled among majestic mountains where life flows peacefully and simply. On March 20th, 2000, Emma Jane Walker was born into the loving arms of her parents, Mark and Jill Walker, alongside her younger brother Evan. Emma grew up like a radiant flower in her hometown, beautiful, sweet, and full of compassion. Everyone who met her was captivated by her warm smile and approachable, friendly nature. Emma wasn't just a girl who stood out for her looks. She was an honor student at Central High School, a talented member of the cheerleading squad, becoming the only freshman to make the team in 2014. But what made Emma truly special was her kind heart. She dreamed of becoming a neonatal nurse, wanting to dedicate her life to healing fragile little lives. Beyond that, Emma often volunteered at an animal rescue shelter, caring for abandoned dogs and cats with all her love. Emma's life was like a perfect painting, a happy family, cherished friends, and a wide-open future. Then in the fall of 2014, she met William Riley Gaul. Riley Gaul, often called Riley, was a football star at Central High School. Tall, handsome, and popular, he was the ideal guy for many girls. 2 years older than Emma, Riley was a senior when she started her freshman year. He wasn't just good at sports, he was active in church and described by friends as a gentle guy, even a bit of a nerd with his passion for Star Wars. On paper, Riley was the perfect boy next door. Emma and Riley's romance began like a high school fairy tale, the football star and the beautiful cheerleader. They quickly became a famous couple, often appearing together in affectionate social media photos. But from the start, there were unusual signs. Though he had broken up with his ex-girlfriend to be with Emma, Riley still kept his promise to take his ex to junior prom instead of Emma. This action worried Emma's parents, especially Jill. They feared Riley didn't truly prioritize their daughter. Emma, with her independent and stubborn personality, brushed off her family's warnings. She was infatuated with Riley, and that teenage love seemed strong enough to overcome any doubts. But as time passed, cracks in the relationship began to show. Riley grew controlling and jealous, gradually isolating Emma from her friends. He didn't like her talking to others, and even got angry when she wore outfits he deemed inappropriate. Emma's friends noticed this, but she just laughed it off, telling them not to worry. No one suspected that this control was only the beginning of a nightmare. Emma and Riley's relationship was no longer a beautiful love story. Over 2 years, they repeatedly broke up and got back together, with each argument growing more intense. Riley often sent Emma angry messages, only to apologize soon after, swearing he loved her more than anything. His erratic behavior increasingly alarmed Emma's family. Mark and Jill decided to intervene firmly. They installed security cameras in the house after discovering Riley sneaking through Emma's window at night. They banned him from their home and confiscated Emma's phone to cut off contact. But Riley quickly found a workaround. He gave Emma an iPod Touch, letting her message him via Wi-Fi without anyone knowing. Later, when Riley graduated and moved to Maryville College, 30 minutes away in 2016, the toxic relationship persisted. The breaking point came when Jill found offensive messages from Riley on Emma's device. They grounded her, restricting her to school and cheer practice. Slowly, their efforts paid off. Emma started returning to her old self, cheerful, lively, and spending time with family. She texted friends that she was ready to end things with Riley for good, especially after seeing him with other girls on the social media. But Riley wouldn't accept it. He threatened suicide, trying every tactic to hold on to her. This time, Emma stood firm. She blocked his number and cut off all contact. In the fall of 2016, Knoxville was steeped in the crisp November air. Emma, now 16 and a junior in high school, seemed to be reclaiming the light in her life after breaking free from Riley's shadow. On November 13th, she officially ended things with him over the phone. "I don't want to do this anymore," she said, her voice resolute. Riley reacted fiercely, threatening to kill himself if she left him. But this time, Emma didn't waver. She blocked his number, erasing him from her life. The Walker family breathed a sigh of relief, believing the nightmare was over. But Riley didn't give up so easily. Friday night, November 18th, Central High's football team had just won a big playoff game. Emma was allowed to attend a celebratory party at her best friend Sarah's house with a few others. For the first time in a long while, she laughed freely, savoring her newfound freedom, but that joy didn't last. Around 11:30 p.m., Emma's phone buzzed incessantly. Messages from an unknown number sent chills down her spine. "Come outside alone, or someone you love will get hurt." Another read, "Riley's been kidnapped. He's lying in a ditch outside the house. Go save him." Panicked but skeptical, Emma pulled her friend Zach outside to check. In the darkness, near the bushes at the end of the driveway, they saw a figure lying motionless. It was Riley, clutching his head, mumbling that he'd been kidnapped and didn't know how he got there. Emma burst into tears, not out of worry, but anger. "We're done! Leave me alone!" she shouted. Riley stood up, called a friend to pick him up, and left amid everyone's doubts. No one bought his kidnapping story, but the incident left Emma rattled. She decided to sleep over at Sarah's, hoping things would settle by morning. The next morning, November 19th, Emma drove home with her friend Haley. On the way, they spotted a man in black lurking near the neighborhood. Haley recognized it was Riley. When Emma got home, still shaken from the night before, a sudden, furious pounding on the door erupted at 10:15 a.m. Alone in the house, Emma frantically texted her friends, then, in desperation, messaged Riley, "I hate you, but I need you right now." Riley appeared instantly, but the man in black was gone. When her mother, Jill, returned home, she found Emma and Riley standing in the front yard. She immediately sent him away, reminding him he wasn't allowed near her daughter. On Sunday, November 20th, the Walker family tried to shield Emma. They took her to work and kept her close all day. That evening, Mark and Emma went to Sonic for ice cream, and he noticed his daughter seemed to be calming down. They returned home, Emma did her homework, and went to bed as usual. It seemed everything was okay. In the early hours of November 21st, as the Walker household slept, two loud bangs echoed between 2:30 and 3 a.m. Mark jolted awake, thinking someone had broken in. He leapt from bed and rushed to Emma and Evan's rooms. Everything appeared normal. Emma was in bed, fast asleep. Thinking he'd imagined it, Mark returned to bed, trying to shake off the unease. At 6 a.m., Jill entered Emma's room to wake her for school. Emma usually woke easily, but this time she didn't respond. Jill called her name and shook her leg, but there was no reaction. When she pulled back the blanket, she faced the worst horror. Emma's face was pale, her lips purple, showing no signs of life. Jill screamed, checked for a pulse, but felt nothing. She ran to the phone, calling 911 through tears.
Where is your emergency?
Jill Walker!
What's going on there?
I just tried to wake up my daughter for school, and she has no pulse.
How old is she?
She's 16.
You said that she's non-responsive?
Yeah.
Police and paramedics arrived quickly. At first, they suspected Emma had died by suicide or overdose, but then a small detail changed everything. Two tiny holes in the bedroom wall, no bigger than the tip of a ballpoint pen, accompanied by scattered drywall dust. Outside, they found two bullet casings. The autopsy report confirmed it. Emma had been shot twice from outside through the wall. One bullet struck behind her left ear, killing her instantly. The other lodged in her pillow. The shooter clearly knew exactly where Emma was lying. Her death wasn't an accident. It was murder. News spread rapidly through Knoxville. Friends, teachers, and the community were stunned by the loss of a beloved girl. A candlelight vigil was held, with countless purple balloons, Emma's favorite color, released in her memory. Riley Gaul, he posted mournful statuses on social media, updating his profile bio to express regret over Emma's death. On the morning of November 21st, 2016, the Walker family home became the scene of a horrific crime. Knoxville police swiftly cordoned off the area, and detectives began searching for clues. The two bullet holes in the wall, the two casings outside, and their precise placement showed the killer hadn't fired randomly. The perpetrator knew the layout of Emma's bedroom, knew where she slept. But who would want to harm a 16-year-old girl adored by the community? That question led them to a familiar name, William Riley Gaul. Riley, now a freshman at Maryville College, a 30-minute drive from Knoxville, became the focus of attention. Just days earlier, he had staged the bizarre kidnapping and appeared at Emma's house dressed in black. When police questioned him at his dorm, Riley seemed suspiciously calm. He claimed that on the night Emma died, he was at his friend Noah's house, then returned to his dorm around midnight. But when pressed for details, his story faltered. "I think I slept at Noah's. No, wait, I probably went back to the dorm." A normal person would remember where they were the night their ex-girlfriend died, but Riley didn't. What raised the detective's suspicions even more was his demeanor. Over 2 hours of questioning, Riley never once said Emma's name, referring to her only as that girl. He was cold, detached, as if reciting a well-rehearsed script. "I hope I'm not a suspect," he said, but his eyes betrayed no emotion. The police didn't have enough evidence to arrest him yet, but they knew Riley was hiding something. Then a crucial lead emerged. Riley's friend Alex revealed that after the kidnapping, on November 18th, Riley had bragged about a handgun he'd taken from his grandfather. Riley's grandfather also reported that a gun hidden in his car had gone missing that day when he'd swapped vehicles with Riley to fix a tire. Another friend, Noah, said Riley asked him how to remove fingerprints from a gun just one day before Emma was shot. "He said it was for his roommate, but I knew he was lying," Noah told police. The missing gun's caliber matched the casings found at the scene. All signs pointed to Riley. Analysis of Riley's phone further uncovered the truth. Location data showed he left Maryville at midnight on November 20th, drove to Knoxville, and was near Emma's house around 3:45 a.m., just after the shots were fired. He had also borrowed a friend's phone to call Emma over 40 times, sending 11 texts and 13 voicemails, but she never responded. Riley claimed he just wanted to apologize, but the detectives didn't buy it. They suspected he'd been planning it for a while, and Emma's death was no accident. The police viewed Riley as the prime suspect, but they needed evidence, the gun. Without it, everything was just speculation. Meanwhile, Riley began to panic. After the interrogation, he texted Noah and Alex, begging them not to talk to the police and to delete any related messages. But he didn't realize his two closest friends had chosen to stand on the side of justice. Shocked by Emma's death and long suspicious of Riley, Alex and Noah agreed to work with the police. "I'm not afraid for my safety," Alex said. "I'm only afraid justice won't be served if we don't act." The detectives devised a bold plan, turned Noah and Alex into bait to trap Riley. They equipped them with hidden microphones and tiny cameras concealed in a car key, instructing them to act naturally. On November 22nd, Noah and Alex visited Riley's place to play games, as usual. During the conversation, they subtly steered it toward Emma. Riley maintained his innocence. "I'd never hurt her. I loved her more than anything. But I need you guys to help me get rid of the gun. If the police find it, they'll pin it on me." He revealed he'd hidden the gun at his stepfather's house and wanted to throw it into the Tennessee River, where it would disappear forever. "I trust you guys with my life," Riley said, unaware that every word was being recorded. The three got into a car and stopped to retrieve the gun from Riley's stepfather's house. It was in a trash bag, along with some black clothing, evidence linking him to the mysterious figure who appeared at Emma's house. They drove to a parking lot near Cherokee Bluffs by the Tennessee River. Riley put on gloves, carefully pulled out the gun, and prepared to toss it. Noah sent a coded text to the police. "Gun in sight. Come now." Within 2 minutes, police cars swooped in, lights flashing in the night. "Hands off the vehicle," a loudspeaker blared. Riley was handcuffed on the spot, his face pale as he realized he'd been ensnared. In the trash bag, police found not only the gun, matching the serial number of Riley's grandfather's firearm, but also black clothing and gloves, reinforcing the theory that Riley was the one banging on the door and staging the kidnapping. 48 hours after Emma's death, her killer was in custody. But the biggest question remained, why did Riley do it? And would he ever admit to his crime? On May 8, 2018, the Knoxville courtroom was packed. Family, friends, and the community gathered to witness the trial of William Riley Gaul, the man accused of killing Emma Walker. A heavy atmosphere hung over the room as witnesses took the stand, recounting the heartbreaking tale of a teenage romance turned tragic. Riley, now 19, sat silently, his face devoid of emotion, while the Walker family grieved, mourning Emma. The prosecution presented an irrefutable cascade of evidence: the gun matching the casings at the scene, the black clothing found in Riley's car, phone data proving he was near Emma's house at the time of the crime, and the hidden microphone recordings from Noah and Alex. They painted a picture of an obsessive Riley, unwilling to let Emma go. The prosecutor emphasized, 2 bullets were fired precisely where Emma lay. This was no accident. This was a clear intent to kill, driven by selfishness and possessiveness. They pointed out that Riley had been in Emma's room hundreds of times, knew exactly where she slept, and chose to shoot through the wall to conceal his actions. Riley's defense team countered with a surprising strategy. They didn't deny he fired the gun, but argued it wasn't first-degree murder. Riley only meant to scare Emma, his lawyer claimed. He shot to frighten her, to make her call him for help as a way to cling to the relationship. He didn't know the bullets would penetrate the wall and kill her. They portrayed Riley as a reckless, emotionally troubled teenager with no intent to harm. If the jury agreed, he'd face a manslaughter charge, a far lighter sentence than life in prison. The trial stretched over a week, featuring more than 30 witnesses, from Emma's friends to forensic experts. Jill Walker tearfully recounted the moment she found her daughter lifeless, her voice breaking. "Emma was our light. He took everything from us." Riley at last delivered a statement to the court.
"I know that nothing I can do will ever bring Emma back or alleviate the pain that I caused. But what I can do is tell the truth of what happened that night. My intentions were not, and never have been, to cause Emma any physical harm. At times, I was a terrible boyfriend. I caused her emotional and psychological pain during the 2 years that we were together. But I never once even imagined to cause her any physical harm. My intentions that night were never to harm Emma, let alone take her life. I wanted to scare her, to frighten her so bad that she would have no choice but to talk to me again, to confide in me. I would be there to comfort her and to win her back."
Words couldn't sway anyone. The jury took only a few hours to reach a verdict. Riley Gaul was guilty of first-degree murder, along with charges of stalking, theft, and illegal firearm possession. In Tennessee, first-degree murder carries a life sentence. Riley was sentenced to a minimum of 51 years in prison without the possibility of parole before he turned 70. As the verdict was read, the Walker family's sobs filled the room, mingled with relief that justice had been served. Riley bowed his head, led away in handcuffs, leaving behind a shattered community and an unanswered question. Why? Emma Walker's death was not just a loss for her family, but a deep wound in Knoxville's heart. Yet from that pain, Emma left a legacy. In May 2018, at Central High School's graduation, the Walker family accepted an honorary diploma on her behalf. Her cap and gown were placed on an empty chair, where she should have sat, smiling on that milestone day. Purple, Emma's favorite color, became a symbol of remembrance. Her former classmates added purple hearts and her name to their social media bios, a reminder that Emma still lived in their hearts. Emma's family and friends ensured she wouldn't be forgotten. The school established a scholarship in her name, supporting students with dreams like hers, to become nurses or work with animals. A neonatal intensive care room at East Tennessee Children's Hospital and a dog park in Knoxville were named after her, honoring her kindness and love for small creatures. Jill Walker shared, "I hope people remember Emma by spreading her positive energy. Be kind to each other. That's what Emma always did." From prison, Riley Gaul attempted an appeal in 2021, seeking acquittal or a retrial, arguing the evidence was insufficient. The court rejected it, though his lawyer said he would continue to appeal. For many, however, justice had been served. Emma's story became a warning about toxic relationships, about the danger signs sometimes overlooked: control, possessiveness, and latent violence. Today, Knoxville still remembers Emma as an angel taken too soon. She could have become a nurse, saving hundreds of babies, or an animal caregiver, bringing hope to abandoned creatures. Instead, she left a costly lesson about love, loss, and the power of a community standing up for what's right. Beneath the bedroom wall where 2 bullets stole her life, the mystery was solved. But the pain, perhaps, will never fade.